Hello gorgeous people and welcome to another thrilling episode of TechSpert Weekly, the only weekly YouTube tech news show that Sir Roger Moore heartily endorses from beyond the grave. This week we've got a full side-by-side comparison of the fresh new Samsung Galaxy A33 and A53 5G, definitely two early contenders for the best mid-range phone of 2022. Plus a recap of the mountain of Xiaomi news and probably some other techie-based bollocks if I've got time, before diving face first into a heap of viewer comments from last week. And please do excuse me if I happen to slur my words a little bit worse than usual or just occasionally do a bit of a sick into my own lap. Yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, that one glorious day of the year where English people pretend to give a shit about Ireland just so they've got an excuse to smash back pints from breakfast onwards. Thankfully, I seem to be a bit of a pro at this Hungover news show shenanigans now, if I do say so myself, and that's just as well because of course I hideously overslept this morning, which means I've got even less time than usual. Gonna have to really rush this out the doors. So I would say brace yourself for the worst show I've ever done, but did you actually see last week's show? No, of course you didn't, because if you saw that absolute train wreck, you certainly wouldn't be back for a second helping. TechSpert Weekly! So the big thing what happened this week was that Xiaomi did the Xiaomi 12 series launch. God damn, that is actually the worst sentence ever uttered by a human being ever. So let's just rewind the shit out of that one. So, this week's big tech extravaganza was the Xiaomi 12 series launch, where we finally saw the global versions of the 12, the 12 Pro and the 12X unveiled. I've already unboxed the Xiaomi 12 and the Pro model, and I've got to say I'm actually more in love with the regular version, which is gloriously compact while still boasting incredible gaming performance and camera tech. The difference in photo and video quality is really much smaller than I anticipated. Plus the battery life is definitely superior here on the regular Xiaomi 12. It's got almost the same size battery as the bigger Pro model, but of course it doesn't have that mighty WQHD Plus display to power, etc, etc. And yeah, I still wouldn't describe the battery life as excellent here on the regular Xiaomi 12, but at least it didn't get to about sort of 10, 11 PM, and I was absolutely shitting it that the battery was about to die while I was trying to work out where I actually was. And my full review of that Xiaomi 12 Pro model should be going live soon once I actually get around to editing the bastard. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't hold your breath on that one because I'm struggling to even focus on my laptop screen today. It could be because I'm just getting old, my eyesight's failing me, but it's probably down to the fact that I drank enough beer last night to paralyze a polar bear. So yeah, maybe just give it a few days, then check back in with your Uncle Spurt. Much appreciated. But of course, Xiaomi didn't just leave it at launching a whole bunch of phones. They also chuffed out two new smartwatches, and my review of those morphos is already live. And they also unveiled these premium earbuds, which again, I've shot a review of. I just need to wait for my eyeballs to actually start obeying me again, and then I can get that edit spanked out. But if you can't be asked to wait, well, spoiler alert, the Xiaomi Buds 3T Pro are proper good. You've got adaptive ANC, you've got strong audio quality, respectable battery life, and all at a not too horrific price, €169 or roughly 150 quid. The only bad thing with these bad boys is that, kind of similar to the Apple AirPods, it looks like you've got congealed man fat dribbling out of both of your ear holes. So that's not great. The other big tech shindig this week came courtesy of Samsung, who unveiled two new A-series mid-range mobiles. You got the 399 quid Galaxy A53 5G and the even more affordable £329 Galaxy A33 5G. And Samsung were kind enough to let me have a fondle of these two new blowers ahead of the official launch, and I gotta say, early impressions are these are two early candidates for that best smartphone under £400 crown. These affordable smartphones are actually pretty bloody similar, to the point where telling them apart can be tricky. Both are constructed from plastic with a choice of the same four colours and Gorilla Glass 5 up front to keep them from getting scratched to bits. Plus they're IP67 water and dust resistant as well, so you get them as moist as you like, no worries at all. Speaking of moisture, I bloody need some right now. They run the same software, Android 12, with Samsung's own One UI 4.1 launcher smushed on top, complete with all of Sammy's usual apps. Those screens are Full HD Plus Super AMOLED panels, although the A53 has a screen that's a gnat's pube bigger at 6.5 inches versus 6.4, while also boosting the maximum refresh rate from 90Hz up to 120. And the easiest way to tell these two apart is that selfie shooter, because it's housed in an old school nipple notch on the A33, while the A53 upgrades that to an infinity orifice. And both A-series handsets also sport a stereo speaker setup, proper loud and punchy as well, even to my knackered old lugs, although sadly Samsung has killed off the headphone jack for this range. That's bad time, Samsung. Shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that. Both the A53 and the A33 run off Samsung's snazzy Exynos 1280 chipset, which can hopefully handle demanding Android games like Genshin Impact without completely in the bed. You got the same 6 gigs of memory on both phones, the same 128 gigs of storage, micro SD memory card support, and a 5000 mAh battery with 25-watt charging support. The only other proper difference is with the camera tech. The A33 supports a 48MP primary shooter and 8MP ultra-wide angle effort, while the A53 upgrades that to a 64MP primary sensor and a 12MP wide boy. But, you know, is there going to be any difference in the actual photo and video quality? Well, unfortunately, you're going to have to wait until I actually get my mitts on the proper retail units and give you a full review to find out that. So, you know, make sure you don't miss that. You got to subscribe, got to jingle my bell. But anyway, I'm pretty much already out of time, god damn it. So now it's time for the part of the show that pretty much justifies the upcoming Armageddon. It's viewer comments. I don't know why I'm doing this so much. I guess my brain is just on autopilot. Viewer comments. So we're starting this week with Lee. Hi Lee, sorry, don't know why I said your name like that. He says, that Xiaomi box was the single biggest waste of postage, materials, electronics and time that I've ever seen. An even bigger waste of time than this show here. Now that is some condemnation right there. Condemnation, is that a word? I don't even know what's going on in my head today. But on a happier note, when I accidentally dropped it and it smashed into a million pieces, at least that meant it was really easy to sort into different piles for recycling, so that was a bonus. Next up is Krieger, who says, Portland, Jamaica in the building. Look, it's lovely to hear from you boys, but I've told you Jamaica lads before. Come on man, I live in the UK, it's wet, cold and miserable here right now, so if you happen to live on a sun-kissed island somewhere, then definitely please just keep that to yourself. So for the purposes of this video, Krieger, you don't live in Portland, Jamaica, you live in Portsmouth, where it's currently 3 degrees and pissing it down. Next up, AJHD simply says, thanks for the effort, mate. Not entirely sure, but I think my sarcasm meter may have just exploded. Unless that was actually a genuine compliment, in which case, you're welcome. Yeah, that was just a straight up burn, wasn't it? Charles says, what do you smoke up there in Blighty? I need some of that. Believe it or not, I haven't actually smoked anything in about 3-4 years, something like that. I've just been relentlessly sticking it to my liver instead, and once that's finally given up the ghost, maybe I'll get back to giving my lungs a good kicking. That was one of the crazy things about not doing MWC for so long, is that I forgot just how much a lot of Spanish people like to smoke. Like in Barcelona, holy shit, like literally everyone over the age of 12 was lighting up as soon as they came out of the tube station. Meanwhile over here, the familiar waft of fag smoke has been completely replaced with that bloody vape gas stuff. So here when you step off a bus, your sinuses just get immediately assaulted with bubblegum fumes instead. It's kind of like you're breathing in Willy Wonka's farts. Anyway, back on track. Minaj says, I remember getting my first phone after watching your Moto G4 video on Recombu. I've been subscribed to Uncle Spurt ever since. Wow, that is a proper classic. Gotta admit, I did really enjoy it when Motorola sent me that massive box just full of every Moto G series smartphone, all the way from the original Moto G through to, you know, like the G10 or whatever it was. Yeah, shameless plug alert. Go watch that video because it's just amazing how dinky some of those original phones are. Ugh. Next up, Mad Mike says, up the Lions and the Mackhams, we play Borough tomorrow. Yeah, you guys are like proper fighting it out in the playoff spots, aren't you? Actually, how did that match end? Because I was away, so I didn't actually see the result. Middlesbrough, Millwall, it ended 0-0. Oh, not entirely gutted I missed that one then. This Isn't Nath says, I'm in the business for a comfy new office chair and couldn't help but noticing the Boolies chair in your videos. Is it any good? Yeah, I do actually really like this thing. It is very, very comfortable indeed. I've just about got the leather mechanism thing down now as well, so I don't go flying back every time I mess with it. The only problem with it is the static build-up because it's like fabric-y. So basically every time one of my cats comes up and rubs against my leg a bit, it spontaneously combusts. I'm just going to get that back just right. There we go. Lovely stuff. Right, George says, moving back and forth between Sweden and Germany lately. Oh, okay, so this is the guy who watches in Sweden and Germany, confusingly. Says he's moving back to Sweden permanently, and yes, Swedes are very chill, but it's even colder than the UK, so I don't think you'd like it. I think I would counter that by basically doing this show every week live from a sauna instead of, a freezing cold garage, so at least that would help in some way. And I love how we now appear to have a regular Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles action figure segment in the viewer comments. So this week Neil says, I had the Ninja Turtles, or Hero Turtles, this side of the Atlantic, and one of them was a rabbit/man hybrid that I don't remember from the show. Any ideas? I could Google it, but Spartan Army Unite. Yeah, I remember the Ninja Rabbit guy, right? Yeah, as far as I can remember, he was like wearing a kimono and had like a bandana-y thing, and I want to say he had throwing stars? Next up, Atarnas says, hey, I'm from Bulgaria and our country is smaller than that bezel, referring of course to the iPhone SE3. And you know what, mate? I've never been to Bulgaria, but I think you're probably right. Those bezels are so big, they've probably got their own bloody moons orbiting them. And on the subject again of iPhone shenanigans, Ryan says, who in their right mind would spend 420 quid on a shitty iPhone when you could easily get some refurb flagship Android from 2020 for that amount? I mean, you said it, buddy. Richard says, might be worth trading in the kids for that Mac Studio. I guess it probably depends on how many you have, mate. But to be honest, they'll probably be only good for like a down payment at best. A couple of kidneys should do it though. Nclick says, Jameson's or Chivas Regal. I definitely used to be a Jameson's guy back in the day, that's for sure. Loved a Jameson's on the rocks after a meal or whatever. But I've got to say, I'm definitely more of a kind of a Scotch kind of guy these days. Although, f it, I'll happily drink a pint of either. Andrea says, what smartwatch are you using? Well, that would be the Xiaomi Watch S1, which was just launched. I've done the full-on video of that, though I've just realised that it wasn't under embargo last Friday when I shot Techspert Weekly, so maybe should have censored it out. And last up for this week, as I massively run over, is RMG, who says, Chris, can you deal with these sodden spam bots in the comments pronto? Oh, mate, tell me about it, mate. They're absolutely the bane of my sodden existence at the moment. I've literally had to ban about 24 words from appearing in comments, so if you type in any of these words like prize, competition, congrats, congratulations, etc., then your comment's not going to appear on the bloody channel because these spam bots, they just abuse the shit out of it. I flag 10 of these spam messages and 20 more just pop up in their place. Like James Corden, it is attitude of the highest order and it just refuses to f off and leave us alone. But yeah, if I ever find these guys who invented these sodden spam bots, well, I mean, to be honest, I'll probably not do anything because I'm a scrawny little wuss. I mean, look at me. Yeah, unless they happen to be, 14-year-old puny little shitheads or something, in which case I might give them a swift kick in the cock. But anyhow, that's all we've got time for this week. But thank you to everyone who left a comment last week. So many good ones, as always. Please do smash them down below, and I will get through as many of those as possible next week. And speaking of next week, what the f is next week? Well, definitely not drinking on Thursday. That's for damn sure. I might even set a little diary reminder. Thursday evening, don't drink, you massive bell end. But I don't think there's much going on actually, considering it was like Xiaomi and Samsung and all that shenanigans this week. I think next week's a pretty dry one, so hopefully I'll be able to just catch up a bit. And of course then good old Techspert Weekly again on Friday, so stay tuned for more of this. To be honest, you've watched it this long, so you might possibly come back for more. Anyway, make sure you have a fan-bloody-tastic weekend, and I'll catch you on the other side. Cheers everyone, love you!